Someone has to hold it together. And somewhere along the way, that someone became you. Not because anyone asked, at least not directly, but because you were capable. And capable people carry things. If you have always been the strong one in your family, your friendships, or your life, this is the video nobody thought to make for you. Being strong is not a bad thing. Nobody who loves you would say otherwise. But there is a version of being strong that costs more than most people see. A version where you become so reliable, so steady, so quietly capable that the people around you stop asking if you are okay. They assume you are. They have always assumed you are. And you have made it easy for them. You learned somewhere along the way how to hold your face steady when things were falling apart inside, how to keep your voice calm when someone else was in crisis, how to listen to other people's pain while quietly managing your own, how to show up fully for someone else on a day when you had nothing left to give. That is not a flaw. That is a kind of quiet love, but it is also exhausting. And somewhere underneath all of that strength is a person who has been carrying something very heavy for a very long time, and who deserves to finally understand what that means. And what comes next might be the first time anyone has truly put this into words for you. People who have always been the strong one are rarely just strong. They are almost always deeply sensitive, which is exactly what made them step into that role in the first place. You did not become the one who holds everything together because you feel less than everyone else. You became it because you feel more. You pick up on tension in a room before anyone has spoken. You notice when someone is hurting even when they are pretending not to be. You carry the weight of other people's worries alongside your own, often without anyone knowing. This is not a burden, even though it can feel like one. It is a form of emotional intelligence that most people never develop at all. The people in your life trust you, not just because you are capable, but because somewhere they sense that you actually understand them. That kind of awareness, the ability to feel what others feel and still stay steady, is one of the rarest and most meaningful things a person can offer. Here is something the strong ones know and rarely say out loud. Asking for help feels dangerous, not embarrassing, dangerous. Because somewhere along the way, being strong became part of how you understood yourself. It became a quiet promise you made, maybe to someone you loved, maybe just to yourself. And asking for help feels like breaking that promise. So instead, you wait. You find a way. You handle it. Even when you are exhausted, even when it is more than you should carry alone, you find a quiet corner and you work through it by yourself. People around you sometimes admire this. What they do not see is that it is not always a choice. It started as a necessity, and then it became who you are. And this next one is the trait that the people who love you most have quietly worried about. Strong people are often the last to admit they are struggling, not because they are in denial, but because they have spent so many years being the steady one that they no longer feel entitled to fall apart. Other people can cry. Other people can say that something is too hard. But you are the strong one. And somewhere that became a cage built entirely from your own strengths, you have probably developed a way of describing your own pain that makes it sound smaller than it is. I am just tired. It is nothing. I will be fine. And the strangest part is that you believe it when you say it, at least for a while, because you have learned to press on so consistently that you can almost outrun what you are feeling. You have gotten good at finding small ways to release just enough pressure to keep going. A walk, a quiet moment, a task you throw yourself into. Until one day, you cannot. And that is the day worth paying attention to. Think about the last few real emergencies in your life, and the world the moments when something broke, someone needed help, or a decision had to be made quickly. Who did people call? Who arrived first? Who stayed the longest and kept the clearest head? If the answer is consistently you, that is not a coincidence. Strong people become the axis around which other people stabilize. Your calm in a crisis is not something you were simply born with. It was built through experience, through being trusted, through learning that your steadiness matters and that other people lean on it. That is not a small thing. That is a form of quiet leadership that most people could never manage. And the people in your life, even if they never say it directly, would be genuinely lost without you. And this last one is the trait that explains something you have probably felt for a very long time, but never quite said. When did someone last truly take care of you? Not in a small way, a kind word, a cup of tea, but in a real and sustained way. When did someone last say, "I have got this, you rest," and you actually let them? For many strong people, the honest answer is that they cannot remember. Not because nobody offered, but because accepting feels almost physically uncomfortable. Letting someone help you means being seen as someone who needs help. And the strong one is not supposed to need help. So you deflect. You say you are fine. You quietly take back whatever you handed over and do it yourself. What you may not have realized is that in protecting everyone from the weight of your needs, you have also kept them from one of the most meaningful things another person can do, which is to feel genuinely needed by you. There is almost always a reason why someone becomes the strong one, and it rarely starts in adulthood. For most people, it began in childhood. Perhaps you grew up in a home where someone was struggling, a parent carrying more than they should, a family under real pressure, a sibling who needed protecting. And you, without anyone asking, made a quiet decision. You would not add to it. You would help carry it. You would be okay, so that someone else could afford to be less okay. That was not weakness. That was love. That was a young person trying to hold something together with whatever they had. But you are not that young person anymore. And some of the rules you made back then may have stayed with you far longer than they ever needed to. And before we finish, the one thing in this video that might matter most. Here is what being the strong one actually means. When you see it clearly, it means you are someone people trust completely. Someone whose steadiness has genuinely changed outcomes for the people you love. Someone whose presence in a room makes others feel safer without you even trying. That is not ordinary. That is not something everyone has. That is something worth knowing about yourself and holding on to. But strength was never meant to be carried alone forever. The bravest thing a strong person can do is let someone in. Not to show weakness, but to show trust. And in doing so, to give the people who love you something they have quietly wanted for a long time. The chance to show up for you the way you have always shown up for them. This week, try just one small thing. The next time someone offers to help, let them. Really let them. Do not redirect. Do not take it back. Just say yes, thank you. It is one of the smallest and hardest things a strong person can do. And it is the beginning of something that matters. If someone in your life has always been the strong one, share this with them today. They may have needed to hear it for a very long time. Take care of yourself, and we will see you next time.